Hello and welcome back to an extra special version of Eagles High. I'm your host, Stephen Struckmann, and I'm here with JDM senior Nate Powalie. Nate, how are we doing today?
I'm doing well, Stephen. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, what brought you here to Ashland University all those years ago?
So, for those who don't know, I'm kind of a second-generation Ashland Eagle because my mom came here in the 90s to get her undergraduate degree, and what brought me in was I was actually inspired by a high school teacher who kind of set me on the path to go towards a career in journalism. And after graduating high school, I had a few different options: Ashland, Ohio University, and even Kent State University. But I ended up settling for Ashland because of the nice community that we have here, and I feel like I was more suited for a Division II school than compared to a bigger Division I school.
Of course. So, what are some of the things that you do here in the JDM department, including WRDL, AUTV20, and the Collegian?
So, I've had a DJ shift on WRDL for the last 4 years, and I also worked as a sports anchor for AUTV20 for starting in the spring semester of 2019, and then I've also been working as an alternate news break anchor in case someone, doesn't feel well or isn't available to make it. And with the Collegian, I've been working as kind of a staff reporter and beat writer, and recently, over the past school year, I've been able to work as the sports columnist for the paper.
That's awesome. So that's enough about what you do here in the JDM department. I want to know more about you specifically. So what are some of your favorite things to do outside of JDM?
I would say outside of JDM, I would say that my favorite things are going to campus activity board events on campus, and I'm also a relatively big gamer, and whenever I get the chance, I also like to go bowling at Luray Lanes.
Awesome. So before we got on set here today, we had talked about your love of game shows, one of your many loves. Would you take us through that love?
Sure. So growing up, I was able to find my way to certain game shows like The Price is Right, Wheel of Fortune, and Jeopardy, and it's really kind of been almost a common ground, if you will, for me to latch on to certain game shows and then develop a unique affinity for them, studying all sorts of questions and answers and products, etc.
Of course, yeah. Awesome. So we all know that here that you have a great love for sports. I mean, we hear your voice all the time on WRDL calling live sports games. Question for you, what's your favorite sport to broadcast?
That's a really interesting question. I honestly enjoy calling basketball games the most because you have so much high-powered action involved, and it's a very fast-paced style, and, for a developing sports commentator like me, it's a good way to get yourself into the real world and prove your experience.
Of course. So in a week or so from now, you will walk across the stage and officially graduate from here at Ashland University. What are some of your favorite memories of this place that you'll remember forever?
Gosh. So last school year, this was back around March of last year, I had the opportunity to do a studio hosting for a women's basketball tournament game for WRDL, and this was back when Ashland was in the Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. Now they're in the GMAC, but Sam Schauble, who was a sophomore guard at the time for the women's basketball team, she was averaging like 2.5 points per game, and she went off for 9 threes in a quarterfinal tournament game.
Wow.
And everybody's jaw that was working with the game for that contest was basically on the floor because she wasn't exactly known to be a stellar shooter. And another memory that I would have to say that I'll remember the most is all the times that I've gotten to work vinyl-thon for WRDL, especially playing all of those vinyl records and talking about some of the favorite music that everyone has.
Yeah, of course. So as soon as you graduate, do you have any kind of jobs lined up for you when you actually walk across that stage?
I've been looking at some remote gigs through the Indeed app, and I am also looking to hopefully become a part-time trivia host with Sporkle Events, which is a quiz website, if you will, that mainly pertains to bar trivia, if you will.
Of course. Final question for you here. If you could have any job in the world, I'm talking any job, any sports team, anything, where would it be? What would you do? Tell me about it.
Oh, man. So growing up, I've always been a big fan of Tom Hamilton, listening to what is now Guardians baseball radio, and so I was hoping that if he ever were to retire, I would instantly jump in on that position. And also I also kind of gave Matt Underwood a little slack for maybe wanting his job, considering that Underwood himself was a graduate of AU.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for being here, Nate. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. This has been an extra special edition of Eagle's Eye. I hope you all enjoy it, and make sure you follow our social media across all platforms at AUTV20. I'm Stephen Struckmann. Thank you so much for watching.